Today I want to talk to you about how you can completely remove overwhelm from your life. And it's a lovely Wednesday morning. It's all things business systems and outsourcing today. And this is a really, really important topic. I think when you look at overwhelm, why is it? Why do people get overwhelmed? Because they're not in control, ultimately. And what we mean by that is you've got obviously so much on your plate, or you're spinning multiple plates, that you just can't keep on top of everything. And the spinning plates analogy is a really good one, because that was exactly me, you know, two or 3 years ago, well, maybe three or 4 years ago, that's probably more accurate, where, I had a property business was bigger than it even is today at the time, had 9 members of staff. I was such a micromanager, control freak with my business. I wanted to be involved in everything. Sorry, there's a car going past me at the moment. Just let this car go past. Oh, I've just walked through a load of mud. This is really not nice, but there you go. So I had 9 members of staff, I was a control freak, micromanaged everybody. And as a result of that mentality, I was a bottleneck. So everything, because I'd set it up in that way, came through me. When it comes through you, you then have to deal with everything that comes to you. And you just feel like you've got the world on your shoulders and people just keep putting more weight on it every second of every day. And it just becomes overwhelming, unsustainable, unbearable, hugely stressful. Thoroughly don't recommend it for anyone. So how do you remove overwhelm from your life now? Well, simple. You just have to find a tool or a mechanism to manage your workload and drip feed it in to allow you to only focus on stuff that you can actually get done in that given time. And so it's all under control. Now, what I mean by that is you need some process. Now, I talked recently about switching from a paper-based operation to a paperless operation, and this is, I find, really important. I mean, this topic that I'm covering today, emphasises that, because I'm going to talk to you about a piece of software today called Asana, and Asana is project management software. Now, like I say, I'm not affiliated with Asana. I've just used it for so long, and it's honestly changed my life. However, when I first started using it, it just added to the overwhelm, purely and simply because I didn't know how to use it. So I'm going to try and give you a few tips today on how you can kind of dive a bit deeper into Asana if you want to use it. However, one caveat to this is it doesn't have to be Asana. It can be any other project management software. They all kind of do similar things, but there'll be certain aspects of one the other can't do, and vice versa. So find one that suits you. Monday seems to be another one which is making a lot of headway. People use Trello. I tried Trello before, but it just doesn't have the same capabilities as Asana. Trello is for project management, but in a much more simplistic manner. I think that's why a lot of people use it. It's probably because they don't understand how to set up Asana, where it's not so overwhelming. So Asana, project management software. How does it stop? Firstly, super high level, how does it stop me being overwhelmed? Well, I've talked to you in previous episodes about outsourcing the management of your inbound comms. So that all happens already for me. I have a PVA, personal virtual assistant, who manages all my inbound comms. So I don't get overwhelmed with the volume of inbound information that hits should normally hit me. It doesn't hit me. It hits the gatekeeper, who filters it, deals with 90% of it, and the very small number that I have to respond to myself does come through to me. And what does that mean? I can manage that no problem, because, just to give you a bit of an indicator, I get over 500 emails every day from my multiple different email addresses, and I deal with maybe 5 to 7, possibly closer to the 5 rather than the 7 on a daily basis now, because I have all these filtering mechanisms and somebody managing it on my part. 5 emails is 1% of 500, so 1% of the emails get through to me. That's some filtering process. So go back and watch that episode if you haven't already done so. and really start trying to implement it. And remember, small consistent steps. It's going to change overnight. Small consistent steps. But the reason I'm talking about this is because this filters into Asana. So where do I see these emails? Where do I see social media, inbound comms? It's all through Asana. Where do I see posts that I need to action? Where do I see queries from other members of staff that I need to action? It's all in Asana. And I have my PVA manage my Asana account as well. So again, she'll sort so much of it so that I only get a small influx of actions that come to me. And every time an action comes to me, if it's something that's going to be recurring, I put a new rule or a new process in place. And then that doesn't come to me in the future. So there's a common theme here. Rules. So rules and filtering. Get as much of it away from you as possible. Now I'll talk to you about a productivity model I came across a year or so ago called the Cord productivity model, which tells you how to process all that inbound stuff in a more kind of model format or a structure that people can remember quite easily. Now I'll do this on a different episode, so I'm not going to talk about that now, but that will help people if you obviously work better to kind of a more structured model. So back to Asana. So what does it do? Well, like I say, it's task management. It's the ability to have multiple people in your team working from the same platform. It is a communications hub. However, the caveat to communications hub is not instant comms. I struggle to find anybody who uses instant comms because you get so much information, depending on how it's set up, that will drop into your Asana inbox that it becomes very difficult to keep on top of instant comms. Now, I integrate Asana with Slack. Slack is where all instant comms happen, but Slack integrates so well with Asana that I can keep all communication in Asana, even though we're having the communication in Slack. And I'll talk to you about how that integration works in an episode when I go deep dive on Slack. But for today's episode, it's about Asana. So how's Asana set up? Well, I'll give you a real high level overview at the moment. So you've got my tasks, okay? This is basically a section where any task that's assigned to you will drop into my tasks. Now, I don't use my tasks, purely and simply because it's not like a project. But before I go into my tasks, I'll talk to you about the structure of how Asana works. Okay, so the hierarchy of Asana is you have an organizational workspace. Now that's the overarching Asana account. Now you can be in multiple Asana organizations or workspaces. So that might be if you're a JV with somebody else's business, or you've got multiple businesses, then you can ultimately have multiple different Asana accounts that you're part of. I would strongly advise against, if you can avoid having to go into two all the time, two or more, I would avoid trying to keep it all in one. Pure and simply that it's difficult to keep track of if you're having to log in and out of, well, not log in and out, but you switch between different accounts. It becomes quite messy and quite hard to manage. So if you can keep everything in one workspace or organization, do so. And I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So underneath workspace and organization, which is the top level, you have teams. Now teams are groups of projects, okay? And when I say these different hierarchical structures, it's how you can set up your security and access and permission structure. So people can have access at organization level, which means they have access to everything. People can have access at team level, which means they have access to all the projects and all the tasks within those projects at team level. You can have project level, so people have access to all of the tasks within that project, and you can have task level, so they can only access that task in that specific project. Morning. So it's that's the kind of breakdown, and then under tasks you can have subtasks, and people can have access to subtasks, but not even the parent task above it. So, and you can have subtask and subtask. So it's almost infinite how far you can dive deep with the permission structure. So it's so flexible in terms of what you want people to see and what you want people not to see. So that's how the structure works. So you've got teams, and what I would recommend is you can have multiple teams for a business. So you might want to have, sales, marketing, different teams, operations, finance, different teams for a specific company. And you might have that again for a different company. So you can have unlimited teams. I don't think there's a limit anyway. I certainly haven't found it, and I've got lots and lots of teams in my Asana account. And then you can have unlimited projects in each team. So it's stuff you're working on. But one of the first things I'd recommend is that you create a project and call it your name and dashboard. And the reason I recommend that is that's going to replace your My Tasks section. And I'll talk to you about My Tasks now. My Tasks is a section of Asana that basically anything that is assigned to you will drop into your My Tasks. The issue of that is that there's no filtering mechanism there whereby it all just drops in, and there's no ordering or structure to it. You can't use things like rules and things as well, which make a big difference. Morning. So again, it's a big issue there in terms of the filtering and the rules. What you're trying to set up is a structure where you see as little as possible. The stuff you see is what you have to see, and everything else you don't, because it's being dealt with by the people. That's what you want to try and create. So having a dashboard project, which is your name and dashboard, and everybody else in your team should have access to that project. Okay, and every other team members should also have a dashboard, and everybody in the team should have access to each other's dashboard. That means that you can then assign work to each other by putting it on someone's dashboard, as opposed to just assigning it to them and it drops into their My Tasks. As I said, My Tasks, you have limitations. You can't apply rules to it. You can apply sections to organise it to some degree, but you can't add custom fields and things, which is all really, really cool stuff for organising your workload in a structured way. So that's just my recommendation. I don't like My Tasks. Some people do and swear by it. I like having, a dashboard view where I can structure things accordingly. And the reason I call it a dashboard rather than Kevin Brittain jobs or something, or tasks, is because I also have my goals in there and the goals for the business. And those goals I'll assign out to each person, and I'll put the relevant goals to each person, or milestones, on their dashboards. And that is where they will log their daily metrics, so their KPIs, against how they're tracking against that goal. So I can go on my dashboard, I can see all the KPIs that I've set up for the business in one place. And Asana has some spreadsheet functionality. Don't get me wrong, you can't do complex formulas. Things like sums and averages, minimums, maximums, it works very, very basic level spreadsheet, so you can start seeing totals of data, etc. So financial data, you can put projects for financial data, and you can see totals, averages, etc. Stuff that's really helpful. You can't have percentages, which is a bit annoying, but hopefully Asana will bring that in at some point. But for high level KPIs, and when I say high level, as a business owner, the general rule is, for me, I need to glance at a KPI and know immediately what that means. I don't have to dive deep, scrutinise. I just need to see at a glance. If it takes more than a glance, it's too much information there for me to process. So that's how I kind of manage my KPIs. Less is more. So I put that into everybody's dashboards, and I have all of them on mine. So I get that visibility of what's going on in the business all in one place. So that's the value of the dashboard. You can then have this is how you can construct things. So the next thing we do is we have a project for a business plan. Now it's not a business plan in a traditional sense, of course, because it's just a list of tasks. But what you do is you create sections. So what I didn't say in Asana is in the projects, you can view projects in multiple views. So you can view them, depending on the version of Asana that you've got, you can view them in timeline, which is a Gantt chart. You can view them in Kanban board. So you can, like a Trello board. You can view things in calendar format. So it looks like a calendar. You can view things in linear format, which is my favourite. But I do use the other views for certain aspects, so we'll go through in more detail shortly. So there's lots of different views, and you can see the progress of projects as well. So how many tasks we completed each day. So you get all this data all in one place, and it is a really intuitive platform. So what you've then got is you can create a business plan, and in a linear format of Asana, you can create subsections. So you have a list of tasks. You can have actually sections that break them up. So you can have like sections where you group tasks in a linear format. If you view it in a Kanban style, those subsections will turn into columns. So you can see how it kind of all links together. But the beauty of that is that you can dump dump stuff into a Asana project and then sort it at a later date into some form of categories, etc. So we have a business plan project for each business, and we group everything by different projects. Now, what we do is things we're focusing on. So we list everything in the business. So we go through the traditional business. You've got leadership at the top. You've then got, in the leadership, you've got things like goals and vision, culture, all that stuff. You then get down to the nitty gritty of each department of the business. So marketing, sales, operations, finance, admin, and you list everything that needs to be done in each of those. Anything that's an actual project, you can put a little tag or custom field. So tags and custom fields, you can tag everything. It's available in the free version of Asana. So Asana is free, but you get limited functionality in the free. I pay for the top level, and perhaps if I get time today, I'll go through that as well, what I do. But in the free version, you get tags. So tags, you can tag things, so you can then search for tasks by tag. So it's pretty useful, just a way of organising data, not just in projects, but you can tag multiple tasks across multiple projects, and then just click on the tag, and it will group all those tasks together so you can see them all in one place. So that's another cool way. So you can tag things to further segment the data. And the benefit of tagging is, like I say, I just explained this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that again. But I just wanted to review that. Custom fields are almost the same as tags, but you have to pay for the paid version. But custom fields gives you the ability to standardize how something's, so you have rather than just tagging something, and if you tag something the wrong name, it will create a brand new tag. Custom fields, you can create limitations, so drop down menu of what you can actually tag something at, or for a certain custom field. So it's like a CRM in that regard. So custom fields are really, really valuable. The other thing you get with the paid version is, well, the next level up, there's three levels. I pay for the top level. The next level up, you get basic rules. Now, rules are really cool. So you can trigger lots of things to happen if you, from various projects based on automated rules. So, for example, if I added a task to a project, it automatically assigns it to somebody, moves into a subsection, puts a due date on it, all those types of things you can do that just take up little bits of time. So that over the course of time, the compounding effect saves you huge amounts of time when you start getting creative with your rules. So really, really cool to kind of delve into those. But you get a limited number of your rules with the next level up. Top level, you get unlimited. The next thing you get on the paid version is forms. So you can create forms which standardize the way that data is inputted into a specific project. So just like a form on a landing page, you've got different fields that you're asking, and that'll populate that information into your Asana template, your Asana project, but all the tasks will be formatted in the same way. Morning. Sorry, just going past a group of people. So so forms are really, really cool for standardizing stuff, and I use forms really, really cool for people out in the field. People don't want to be faffing around with the mobile app on Asana, which is very good on that app, but it has limitations to the desktop. And by using forms, you can give people links in the field. They can fill in information to capture stuff out in the field, and it populates beautifully into your Asana project back in the desktop version. So forms are really, really powerful. Top level, you get unlimited rules, and you also get portfolios, which means you can create projects of projects ultimately. And the one I use the most is team dashboards. So I have everybody's dashboard, so I can see at a glance everybody's workload. I can see if someone's overwhelmed or got too much on. I can see if someone's got loads of overdue tasks, etc. And I can move tasks around per person from one place. I find that high level is so valuable, and it's worth paying the high level for, in my opinion. It might not be the way you want to work, but these are all just little hacks on how I stop being overwhelmed. So I've talked to you about the team dashboards and being able to manage your KPIs in one place. My rule is less is more. So I've got something in my toe. One second. So, as I said before, you can have loads of spreadsheets and stuff externally. You can put links into your Asana and tasks and link it all together. But I find having everything in one place as much as possible, and having less software you have to kind of go out for. Yes, we do use spreadsheets, of course we do, and we use other pieces of software, but wherever possible, I try and put it all into one place. And it means that the people who need access to it have got it all in one place. They don't have to keep flipping between different software packages all the time. which again is something that slows people down, takes them out of their flow. So I'm trying to make it as easy as, well, the path of least resistance for people as possible. So that's that view. The next thing in Asana is how a task works. And obviously in a task you can assign it to somebody, you give stuff a due date. With the paid version of Asana you can put start dates on as well, the stuff that takes, which is really cool when you start getting timeline. Timeline is the Gantt chart, and that's a paid version feature as well, just one level up. And that's when you can start doing kind of project management in its typical Gantt chart format, dragging tasks out and clicking milestones and all that stuff. So that's where it's useful if you go into more detail. But you can also you assign due dates, you have a description, so you can put what needs to happen. But the one thing I would say with every task, the most important field, and this is why the paid version is so important for the custom fields. I have a custom field called video instruction. And for every video, for every task I assign to people, unless it's ridiculously obvious of what I'm expecting, I record a quick Loom video, put the link in there, and bang, I don't have to faff around with typing lots of text. I just literally put the task title and I put the Loom link, video instruction. When I assign it to somebody's project, all the rules, set it up and assign it, give it a due date that I want, so it just saves me a lot of time. And it's a super easy way to delegate stuff without taking over your life and taking too much time thinking about it. Quick video instruction, custom field, bang it to that person's dashboard. And then the rules of that dashboard will assign it, give it the due date, put it in the right subsection, etc. So really, really cool hack there. So you can use description. You can also put comments. Now comments are super important because comments are where the updates for that task would go. Now, we do a lot of that through Slack, but the beauty of the Slack and Asana integration is when you type something in Slack, you can also add it as a comment to a specific task in Asana. So you can have the synchronous communication, the instant communication rather than asynchronous, through Slack, and it updates and keeps the audit trail up to date in Asana, which is so important. You want to keep every piece of task based instruction in Asana, really, really important for audit trail and to know what happens in the journey of a task getting completed, because there's times when you want to review this. It's really, really important. So comments, and then you can also add followers. Now followers are people who can see that task and get the updates of that task. So that's the permission structure of a task. Okay, so really, really important there. So I hope that's kind of made a lot of sense. So what else do I want to talk about? The other thing you can do in Asana is you can like things. Now, we used to do this a lot in Asana because there's an inbox. The Asana inbox will just give you all the updates on all your tasks and everything in the updates. But when you start growing, your inbox will become super overwhelming really quickly. Now you can put filtering mechanisms and rules and stuff into it, but still I find it way too overwhelming. And so what do I do now? I don't even do it, use it, because we use Slack for updates, and if people need to chase, they do it in Slack and then tag the task in from Asana into Slack, or the comment you add to the task in Asana from Slack. So you can see how this kind of knits together. I also have my PVA clear my Asana inbox every day, which then enables me to keep on top of everything's in my inbox. I don't miss anything. And that comes on to my next project, which is super important, is I have a project called Kevin Brittain Inbox. So all that goes in there is anybody or any email or all my inbound comms, Asana messages, queries that my PVA can't answer, she drops into my Kevin Brittain Inbox project. And that's where I assign all the rules, etc. to add new rules to each task so they don't come back to me in the future. And I use lots of custom fields and funky rules and stuff. Now what I will do in the future, I'll do a video walkthrough for this because I think you'll find it useful. I'll put it in the resources in the Facebook group. So if you think you'll find that useful, just add a comment, and there's enough demand, I'll do it a little bit quicker than I've planned to do it. But it will be added over the next few weeks. But if there's a lot of demand for it, I'll do it a bit quicker. So you can see how I set things up. Because the other things I do then is so the inbox I clear every day. It takes me 10 minutes, if that. You know, if you deal with all the inbound comms, traditionally, it probably takes you 50 to 75% of your whole time, which is so it's a huge reduction by having this set up in the way I do. The other thing I do is the dashboard can become pretty overwhelming for people because you'll get all your tasks assigned to you there. So what I then do, I have a third project called Kevin Brittain Daily Plan. I have a custom field for time blocking. So I don't add this to my calendar because some people do it to calendar, which works really well for some people. But again, I like to use work from one place. So each day, the last 5 minutes of every day, I look at my portfolio, my team dashboard portfolio, which is the overview of everyone's workload. I move everyone's workload around, which takes 5 minutes. I look at mine and scrutinise mine, and I've got everything categorised in my dashboard by project, and we have a project prioritisation, which was created from the business plan project that I talked to you about. So anything which is traffic lighted as well. So the top urgent projects work goes to the top of my daily list, and anything else gets pushed back. So there's a process for prioritising, which is really, really important. And what I then have is the daily plan, and I have a time block custom field, which is basically the working hours that I work. So I generally don't start work till 10 most mornings because I come out and do this. So I have a 10 till 11 where I'm doing my run and vlog and that sort of thing, and 11 to 12, right the way through to about 4 till 5 generally. And then I also have a few late at night, because occasionally I feel like I want to do some work late at night. So I have a few hour blocks. But you make sure they're an hour blocks. Hour blocks are key, and never have more than 4 tasks to an hour's block, because that's 15 minutes, and even stuff that you think takes 5 minutes will take you 15 minutes to do. So that's just another rule that I recommend. And then I give everything a time block. So each day I start my day, my daily plan's set up, and what that enables me to do is only have stuff that I believe I'm going to get completed in that day in my to-do list. So there's no overwhelm. I don't see the massive list, hundreds of other tasks that I've got, because I sort them once a day for the next day's activity. And what that enables me to do is to stay completely cool, calm, and know that I'm working on the highest priority stuff, and I've time blocked it. So even things like phone calls and stuff, I'll get a task for it, I'll time block it, so it's blocked into my daily agenda. And okay, occasionally you deviate away from that, but whenever there's a business partner wants to speak to me or something, unless it's urgent, I just say no. When you want to schedule it, add the task, and I time block it for that day. So it doesn't disrupt what I'm doing. This comes into the power of no, and I'll talk to you about this in another episode. But it's just a process. It sounds really complicated, and it's taken me years to find the setup that works for me. And other people have some setups that will be better than mine, and other people have that are a lot worse than mine. But the key thing is it's got to work for you and how you like to work. But secondly, it's got to stop you feeling overwhelmed. So the way Asana works is like a dumping ground. You dump stuff in there, but then through all the processes and systems you set up, it all gets captured, recorded, sorted, or organised, and then reported back to you in the format that you need it. That just takes that huge amount of stress out of control, overwhelm away from you. So, sorry if this has been quite a lengthy video, quite a lot to take in. If there's a lot of demand for it, like I say, I'll do a walkthrough of my Asana setup so you can see exactly how I use it. And I'm sure that'll be super valuable to a lot of people. So if that's some of you, just drop me a comment or like or engage with me. Drop me a private message of some kind. But yeah, hope that helps. So hopefully I've given you a good summary of what you need to do, how you need to do it, and hopefully I've not overwhelmed you further and confused you about Asana. But I've given you some key pointers. So I've just got to go through a gate here on how you can remove overwhelm from your life and some ideas. If this just inspires you to find your own way of removing overwhelm, then absolutely it's done its job. So hope that's useful. Like I say, as always, please like, share, comment, connect with me, ask me questions. The door's always open, and like I say, I'll always reply, and I'll always add an episode covering any topics that people want me to talk about. So that's my guarantee to you. So as always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.